Hello, this is Benitomo Kamimura from aps Academy. The purpose of this video is to help you learn how to read out loud. Are you ready? Let's get started. 隣人の意外な一面. While I was growing up in our small town, Rosemont, I always thought of my neighbor, Mr. Peel, as a stranger and somewhat frightening old man. He was always yelling at me and my playmates to stay away from his yard and his old truck. My parents never said much about Mr. Peel and only told me to leave him alone, so I never had any reason to believe he was anything more than an unpleasant old man. But sometimes, at times and places we least expect, we learn something new about people that changes how we look at them. Such a thing happened to me last year at my university, 100 miles from home. One day, I was in the cafeteria talking with a classmate about my hometown. Suddenly, a student who was sitting next to us interrupted and said, "Did you say you come from Rosemont? Do you know an old man named Peel there? He drove an old blue truck." "Why, yes," I answered. "He's my neighbor. Do you know him?" "I do. What a coincidence," said the student, and he began to tell me a story. He told me that he lived in Sunnydale, where the university is, and that one day, 7 years ago, he, his mother, and his little sister decided to spend a day in the mountains near my hometown. We had to take a train to Rosemont early in the morning, and then a bus from there into the mountains, he said. He said that he and his sister began using rocks to make a small pool in a mountain stream. We wanted to catch baby fish and collect them in the pool so that 3 of us could watch them swim around for a while before we let them escape back into the river. He was arranging one of the rocks into the wall when suddenly his sister accidentally dropped the large rock right on top of his left hand. It cut his fingers to the bone and made a terrible wound. It hurt so much, and it looked awful, he said. Mom wrapped my hand in a towel and told us we had to find a doctor. But the bus back into town was not due for another 4 hours. The 3 decided they would have to walk down the road back to town. However, that too would take more than an hour. My mother kept telling me to be brave, but I could tell that she was really worried. We were all scared. Just then, a small blue truck came up the road in front of them. Mom started waving and yelling, and the truck stopped. She explained what had happened, and the driver, an old man, if he would take us into town to see a doctor. But the old man told her that the doctor was out of town, and the only other doctor in the area was another 30 miles away on the other side of Rosemont. He told us to hop in, and that there was some ice for my hand in the bucket in the truck. The student continued his story, telling me that he could not remember much about the trip to the doctor. However, when he finally walked out of the doctor's room with his fingers bandaged, Mr. Peel was sitting in the waiting room with his mother and sister. He said he would drive us back to Rosemont so we could catch the last train home. On the way back, he told us that he had no grandchildren, but that his next-door neighbors had a daughter named Sarah around my age, so he knew how Mom must have felt. "You must be Sarah, I guess. When you see Mr. Peel again, tell him that I'm majoring in music, guitar. My hand is perfectly fine." "I'll do that," I answered. Our university is large, and I never again met the student who had told me this story. But I did see Mr. Peel again. I see him with new eyes now, and I'm glad I have a neighbor like him. How did you do? It's important to read slowly at first, and to read over and over again. Good luck. See you next time.